Hey folks, Jason Kennel, President of Concrete Floor Solutions. We have developed an epoxy flooring system for the homeowner and or contractor that is simple to use. I've been using this myself for probably 20 years. I've been in business for 25 years. This is all I do is specialty flooring systems. We do this commercially and industrially. So this flooring system is a flake floor, very popular in today's garages. They're also very expensive if you pay somebody to install them. So what we have done is develop these materials so it's easy for you to use, and I'm trying to do videos to show you how easy it is to do if you follow the instructions properly. So the following video that you're going to see immediately after this, I do this entire floor myself. It took about a total of 3.5 hours over 2 days to do. So watch the video, follow the instructions, and you can have a floor like this at probably 1/6 the cost of paying somebody to do it. This is a 3-coat system. It involves the CFS 707 LVP primer, the CFS 707 intermediate coat, both medium gray. The flakes are added to that, and then the CFS 137 MUV clear coat. It's a 3-coat system, great products, they're very easy to use. Tune into the video immediately after this. You'll see how it's done. If you have any questions about anything, you can email me or call me directly. I'll be more than happy to walk you through anything. But this is the system that works fantastic for garage systems and industrial systems also, but primarily I'm talking about residential systems right now. So what I want to do is come over on my other garage that I've done probably last year. And I'm going to be trying to match this floor with the new floor I'm doing on the other side. So I just want to show you some video of the floor, how it holds up over time, just so you can see what you can expect. So this is the floor I installed last year. This is the flake floor. It's a prime coat of CFS 707 LVP, and then an intermediate coat of CFS 707. We broadcast the flakes in it, and then we do a top coat of CFS 137 MUV, which is an ultraviolet resistant top coat. And if you look real close, you can see the texture in there. I'm even going to show you where the wheel, oh no, I can't even find it. Here we go. Right in the center of the shot is where the front wheel of my dually pickup truck sits. And you can see you do get a little haze in the floor. That's from a zero turn. When you're parking, because you're grinding the grit from the road into the epoxy, so nothing is really going to withstand that, but it surely is not bad at all after really heavy use. I come in and out of this garage all the time. So now I'm going to get back to the other floor. I'm going to show you what you can expect when you install the system. Folks, before we begin, I got to clean out this garage, which I have been procrastinating for quite a long time, so I'm going to do this and get ready for the flooring system. What I do want to talk about is the flooring system a little bit before I start. I've been doing this for 25 years and went through a lot of manufacturers of epoxy that promise you one thing, claim one thing, and it turns out to be another when you're done. So what we have done is we developed a system where I found all of the best epoxies, kind of put them all together into one system. So you, the end user, has the best system for the job. This is what I use every day, and again, 25 years of experience. This is what I'm recommending to everybody to use. I have not ever had a failure, nor do I ever want one, but by doing this system, you will not have a failure on your floor. Okay. So the condition of the floor, this floor actually is in pretty good shape. There's lots of stains on the floor and that type of thing. There are some oil stains. Of course, I'm gonna have to clean all this stuff out, which I'm sure everybody always looks forward to, because that's always the most exciting part of any job, is cleaning out your garage. So I'm dealing with the light issue here. So you can see I have some oil stains over here where I keep my chainsaws and stuff, but we're going to grind all this down to clean white concrete and install, this is going to be a 3-coat system, and what I'm going to do is get it to match my floor over here, which I installed, I don't know what this was, 6-8 months ago, something to that effect. but we're going to get it to match this floor. So we're going to start, I'm going to clean all this out, diamond grind it, and then show you what to do from there. All right, folks, we're back. We're all set up. We're getting ready to grind here. I just want to go over some of the equipment that I use to do this. This is a Hilti DG150 grinder. Now, most people don't have access to this. This is a commercial unit. But what I want to show you is the diamonds on here, which any diamond cup wheel, if you go to Home Depot, you get a diamond cup wheel, put it on a 7-inch grinder with the dust shroud, and that will collect the dust for you. This is our vacuum that we have connected to it. You can use a shop vac. You're just going to have to change the filter often. This is a lot of dust you're going to be collecting. Also, this is called a RACATAC. This is probably one of the best inventions I have ever run into in the flooring industry. You can kneel on this and basically roll around the floor to do all your grinding. It saves on back issues tremendously. I've had 3 back surgeries, and I can use this for 8 hours a day, 12 hours a day, and I have no back pain at the end of the day. Respirator, you always want to use a respirator. This is dustless, but still, when you're doing this and your face is near the grinder, you want to make sure you collect as much dust as possible. So use a respirator, safety glasses, and earplugs. So I'm going to get set up here. We're going to put this on time lapse to make this a little quicker, but we're going to give you a close-up then of the prep work when we're done so you see what you need to do before you put our flooring system down. Folks, we're all set up here. I'm just going to grind a little spot right here so you can see what it is in regular speed. Then we're going to put on time lapse, and I'm going to do the rest of the garage because, quite frankly, it's really boring to watch somebody grind concrete. So here we go. So if you look down at the concrete, see the little scratches in here, that's ultimately what you're looking for, is you want clean white concrete. You see the scratches so the epoxy has something to bite on. It's that simple. That's what you have to do all over your floor. So I'm going to do the rest of the floor. I'll be back with you in a little bit. All right, so I just got done grinding. I'm gonna say that took me about a half an hour, maybe. I mean, it went really quick, actually. So I'm just gonna show you some close-ups of what the floor looks like after I ground it and show you what you need to do before you put a floor down. Okay, so here is the floor now. Ground everything. Turned out really nice. Still a couple little spots from that oil, but I grounded really hard there. And if you look real close, you see the scratches, which is what you want. That epoxy will bite onto that and won't peel. All I have to do is vacuum this yet, and we are good to go. All right, this is all vacuumed. So what I do with the grinders, it's very important when you're moving the grinder around, you gotta move in like circular patterns. You can see my patterns here. You have to move around quick. If you go slow, you're gonna like burn a ring in the floor, which is surely not a nice thing to do. So just make sure you keep the grinder moving and work in patterns. Go over the entire floor, get a nice clean white concrete, then you can apply your epoxy right on top of that and you're gonna be in good shape. So next thing you're gonna see is putting the epoxy down on this floor. I'll go over the details of the materials, show you how they work, how to mix them. It's not that hard at all, as long as you follow the instructions. We have the epoxies out here. So we have our prime coat, our intermediate coat with the flakes, and our clear top coat. So I'm gonna go over how to mix all these, how to apply them. It's a simple process, it really is. So we're gonna come back, we'll show me mixing everything and putting it down, and we'll get this project going. I'm gonna mix up the primer and we're gonna get moving on this prime coat. This is the 707 LVP medium gray. So open up your bucket, And depending on quantity you order, sometimes the gallon bucket will come separate on top, sometimes it comes in it. This is inside of it. So we're going to take this, we're gonna just pour it right inside the 5-gallon bucket, and we're gonna mix up the whole thing. So it's 2 gallons of part A, 1 gallon of part B. Pop the clips off. That just protects it during shipping. Okay, pour B into A. The drill and the mixing paddle. I'm going to put this on low speed. We're going to mix this up. You want to make sure you get the edges good. If you don't get the edges, you're definitely going to have problems. You would get the edges really good, go in a slow circular pattern. I got to tell you, I see a lot of other guys online, they talk about, don't mix it too fast, you'll get air in it. The air does not come from mixing it. The air actually comes out of the slab after you apply it. Of course, you don't want to whip this really fast. The epoxy is going to splatter all over the place. I'll slow this down, I do the edges good. I'm even going to speed this up a little bit more. Just be a little cautious. If you go real fast, all of a sudden it's going to make a big whirlpool and splash out of there. Okay, so now I'm going to pull this up. I'm going to hold it right above the epoxy. Be careful doing that at home, folks. That can get messy if you don't do it right. I'm just going to set my paddle there. I'm going to go out, I'm going to pour this out. So what I'm going to do is do about a 4 or 5 inch wide pour every 6 foot or so. That's all I'm going to pour out. Now, let me grab my squeegee here. So the tools I'm using, I have a squeegee. This is a 24-inch squeegee. I have an 18-inch roller. I have a 6-inch roller. And I have a brush. That's all you need, nothing special. Now over here I do have my spiked shoes. So now all I'm going to do is push the epoxy around with the squeegee. What we want is a good consistent coat. And if you start putting this down and you realize it's using more than you think, you just pour more out. I like the background of the squeegee. You can see the puddle there, you just pull it back. Now this is a prime coat. What this is designed to do, it's very thin viscosity. The LVP stands for low viscosity primer. So it's designed to penetrate into the concrete. So if you put this down and it looks like it's disappearing, it's doing its job. That's what it's supposed to do. If this coating soaks into the concrete, now when you put the next coat on top of this, it's bonded to this, and this is penetrated in. It cannot peel, which is the most important part of this floor. Getting these edges, sometimes it's a little time consuming. You obviously don't want to make them messy. You try to get as close to the wall as you can. Don't hit your head on anything. And come right down this edge here. Well, you see already, look over here. See how this looks dry? That actually soaked into the concrete, which is great. Now this material is penetrated in there, so when we put the next coat on, it's fused to this. It cannot peel. I'm just going to walk back and forth with the squeegee, pushing the puddle. You know, I don't know if you guys noticed at all, it was in time lapse when I was grinding this, So when I ground this concrete, some areas were real soft, some areas were hard. And really what it was is back here was pretty soft. The closer I got to the door, it got pretty hard. That's very common to have concrete that's inconsistent. And one of the most common things I say to people is concrete is consistently inconsistent. Every pour is different. They might have poured half this slab, added water halfway through, and by doing that they made it really soft. You never really know what happens to it. You just have to deal with it when you're working on it. So. All I'm doing is pushing this puddle down side to side, and then I'm going to back roll this with the 18-inch roller. So even if there's like heavier spots, that's why you back roll it. And you back roll it a couple times, trying to get as consistent as you can possibly get. That is really the key. You want it consistent. And I have a little bit of a puddle here at the end. One thing I did not do yet is wet up my roller, which takes up quite a bit of material. So I'm going to wet this thing up quick in the puddle. Here's the thing too with edges and well, they call that the slab nose here in the front where the concrete comes out to the apron. You really can't tape that. The problem you have if you tape it, well, first of all, the epoxy wicks underneath, so you're going to get a sawtooth edge, which is not really pretty. So really, you just have to do it by hand. So you got to really take your time when you do that to make that look pretty. Which you'll see, I'll show you how to do it with the roller. Volume worked out pretty good. All right, I'm just going to get my squeegee out of the way. I'm going to lay that out here. Now I'm going to take my 9-inch roller. I forgot to wet this up too. Let me find the puddle here. I'm going to get as close as I can to these edges here, and I'll use the brush for the rest. Oh yeah, with this here, let's go right along the nose. So consistency is very important. So you want to make sure you roll this a couple times in multiple directions, trying to get everything to look the same. Need my brush. All right, so when you're doing brush work, it's just easy. Just dip into a puddle. Just come up around the edge. There's a pebble there. Okay, this side. Some areas you just simply can't get to with the grinder to prep. Kind of is what it is. As long as there's no traffic going over that area, it's really not a problem. Right here you can't roll underneath this pipe, so I'm just running the brush down there. Okay, so that's the edging. Just with the brush. I'm going to run around the whole perimeter here quick with the 6-inch, and then I'll start with the 18. Okay, now we're done with the 6, so that was easy enough. Just going to set that in the bucket. Now the 18. So since I squeegeed across, I'm going to roll perpendicular. Make sure you overlap good. If you do see a puddle, roll over it a couple times to pull it back. Now again, this is the prime coat, so you might look out here in 20 minutes and there might be dry spots. It's okay, it's soaking in, it's binding everything together. That's what it's supposed to do. Okay, that was easy. That's the prime coat. Primer's down. I'm getting ready to put the intermediate coat on. The intermediate coat is CFS 707. Same packaging as the LVP. This is not the primer, which the LVP stands for primer. 707 is the intermediate coat. This is 100% solids epoxy. So it means whatever we put down, whether it's 5 mils, 10 mils, 15 mils, it's gonna dry at that same rate and not lose thickness like water-based epoxy. Pull part B out of part A. Pull the plastic liner out. Pop the clips. Now this is thicker. Again, because this is not the primer. So now you want a thicker material. This is what they call a high build epoxy. Okay. I'm gonna mix this the same way. This. Again, you want to go around the perimeter, make sure you get the edges really good and the bottom. Again, I want to reiterate, see the bubbles in the top here? All these other manufacturers say, oh, you put air into the epoxy when you mix it. That comes out when you stop mixing and you roll it down. There is no air bubbles. The air bubbles comes from vapor transmission coming out of the concrete. So if you put a coating down and it starts to bubble, it means that you have vapor transmission coming up through the concrete. That's what creates those bubbles, not the epoxy. Okay, so now again, I'm just going to hold this about a ½ inch above. Clear off my mixing paddle. You don't necessarily have to do that. I like to do that. You can make a big old mess if you do that the wrong way. So these are the flakes I'm going to be throwing in, which I'll show you that after I get this out. So I'm going to turn around, get my spikes on here. Same thing, a puddle about every 5-6 feet, 4 or 5 inches wide. That was a little heavy back there, so I'm doing this one thinner. You can always pour more on the floor, and if you pour on too much, it makes one heck of a mess. I'm going to do the same thing I just did. So I wanted to slow this down at the end just to show you how to throw the flakes properly. So I always put them in just a small bucket so I can kind of reach in. It's important when you throw the flakes that you throw them up in the air and let them like fall down. If you don't, you get clumps on the floor and it's not going to look good. So you just take them and just throw it up in the air and you see how they land. Do that. Come right along the edge. And you can step in this, you have to make sure you don't slide your feet. If you slide your feet, you're gonna move all the flakes. As long as you like walk flat-footed, you're fine. sprinkle some at the very end here, and then I'm done. And we're going to come back tomorrow. We're going to put the clear coat on with the aluminum oxide, and we're done. Simple as that. And you can see, if you can peek around the corner here, you can see the floors look pretty darn close. You really can't tell a difference. We don't have the clear coat on yet. The clear coat actually makes the flakes a little bit darker, brings the color out, makes them pop a little bit better. All right, we're good. We're done for today. We'll be back tomorrow. We're going to do the clear coat and wrap it up. This is day number 2. Yesterday we installed the prime coat and the intermediate coat. Now today we're going to do the clear top coat with the aluminum oxide. I'll show you the floor a little bit, and then we'll get with the mixing. I'll show you how to do that and get this thing going. Okay, so here's the floor we installed yesterday. Now you could probably walk on this. I wouldn't recommend it because you don't want to leave footprints. I'm going to wait until I get my spikes on and I'll go out there, but you can absolutely, it's dry to the touch, but if you stand at the same spot, it's going to leave an imprint, which you don't want to do. I'll see if I can do like a little fingerprint there. I don't know if you can see that or not, but so it looks really good. Everything's nice and uniform. We're going to get that clear coat mixed up, and I'll show you what to do next. Okay, folks, I'm all set up here. We have the 137 MUV. This is going to be our UV resistant clear top coat. We're going to apply this. It's probably going to be about 150 square feet per gallon on top of the flake. I also have the aluminum oxide. This is plenty for the whole floor. You don't go through much of this stuff at all. So I'm going to go through the mixing process of this. And I'm going to reset this camera to get the shot for the whole floor. This should take me about half an hour, 40 minutes total. Just so you know, it's like 74 degrees. It's a beautiful day today. So as far as coverage rates, the primer that we installed, let's figure that around 150 to 200 square feet per gallon. It all depends on the porosity of the floor you're dealing with. The intermediate coat, I would figure that around 150 to 200 square feet per gallon. And then this clear top coat, this normally goes a little farther, so you're probably more around 200 square feet per gallon. So I poured B into A. We're going to do the same thing with mixing again. You just don't want to mix it so fast that it splatters out of here. Always pay attention to the edges good. You just want to make sure there's no unmixed epoxy around the edges. If you pour this in the garage and there's unmixed stuff around the edge and you turn the bucket upside down to let it drain out, you're going to have puddles of unmixed epoxy around the perimeter, which you surely don't want. I'm just going to put my spike shoes on. We're going to walk out. I'm going to pour this out, squeegee it just like I did yesterday, back roll it with the 18, and do the perimeter with the 6-inch rollers, do the brush around the edges. I'll show you how to throw the aluminum oxide in, and we'll go through this. Again, when pouring this out, you can always add more to the floor. You don't want to over pour, then you have a big puddle at the end that you need to shovel up. It's kind of awkward to deal with. So I'm just going to pour just like I did yesterday. That's all I'm going to pour out for now. I'm going to add the aluminum oxide after I squeegee this out. If you throw the aluminum oxide on now, it just bounces off the floor and it doesn't stick. So kind of hard to see where you're at because this is clear. By the way, this can get very slippery when you're doing this because it's almost like pouring oil on a smooth surface and then walking it. So you got to make sure you're very firm-footed when you walk. It's inevitable. You're going to find insects in your epoxy. Don't ask me how they get in, but they do. I have a couple of crickets and spider or two floating around in here. I'll pick them out at the end. And before you squeegee all this out, you want to make sure you wet your roller up in the puddle. I'm using an 18-inch roller. This absorbs about a 12 or 14-inch puddle, believe it or not. And don't forget your 6-inch edging roller. I'll finish squeegeeing this out. You're going to try to pay attention, don't miss any spots. It's kind of hard to see clear on a fresh floor. Somehow I have a whole host of insects in here. I need about a cup of material. All right, that's just enough. I'm done with the squeegee. Get rid of this. You gotta get these edges with the brush. Okay, done with the brush. Everything else is accessible with the 6-inch and the 12-inch. Now what I'm or the 18-inch. Now what I'm gonna do is throw out the aluminum oxide. Now just so you know, I mean, you literally, I'm going to take my glove off for this. You literally take a pinch of this. And what I'm going to do is just a pinch, just throw it up in the air. That's all I'm going to do. Go over the entire floor now and do that. Try to do it as uniform as you can, because you can't see it. It just disappears. This is clear, and you're throwing it into a clear coat. You want to make sure you get it all over the floor. And you want to throw it up in the air so it comes showering down, kind of like those flakes. If you throw a clump, it's just going to leave a lump of aluminum oxide in the floor. And you're going to back roll this, so it's going to roll around, distribute it evenly over the entire floor. I always do the nose here a little heavier, just because this is where people come walking in, and just about half of what I had in there. Now that I did that, I'm going to roll, and when you back roll the floor, it's going to entrap that aluminum oxide in the clear epoxy. So first I'm just going to go around the perimeter, get the perimeters done, then I can roll the whole body of the floor. You want to make sure you don't miss any spots, especially where it's exposed to the direct sunlight. Okay, done with the 6-inch. I'm going to use the 18 and back roll everything, and then we're done. If you leave your roller sitting anywhere, make sure you, when you pick it up, you roll over the puddle, because the epoxy leaches out of the roller, and you'll leave a little mound there. And if it's clear, it's kind of hard to see. Well, that's it, folks. I recorded this in real time. I'm going to end up speeding this up, which I know you'll see before you get to this part. But I did this on purpose so you see how quickly this really does go. So now I'm done. I'm going to bring the camera and I'm going to show you around a little bit. I'm also going to show you a trick with the garage doors, which is something most people don't think about until they're done. All right, one thing I wanted to show you before I wrap this thing up totally here. Floor's all done. Might be able to see the texture now. If you look in the light, you can see that aluminum oxide in there. So you need some texture. If you don't have texture, this is going to get awfully slick. I'm showing it at all angles so you can see that aluminum oxide in there. But you need texture. If you don't have texture, this is going to be slippery. So this is the finished floor. I'm walking around with my spikes on. Now, one trick I want to show you with the door. The problem is you can't leave your door open or you're going to have critters come in. So I'm going to show you what to do with that. I disengaged my door up here. Now what I'm going to use is two vice grip clamps. I'm going to put this one down pretty much as low as I can go. This is hard to do one-handed. This is very hard to do one-handed. Okay. Now, set right or not. Still see light in. Oh, no. I have to raise that up a little bit. So I'm going to put my foot under here for now. So I don't have to worry about that. I'm going to release this. Raise it up a little bit. Perfect. So you see light under the whole door. And then what I'm going to do, because most people don't want to leave their garage door unlocked and open overnight, is above this roller here, I'm going to clamp in another one so you can't open the door. So now you're secure overnight. Now most people have a man door to walk out of their garage. I can walk out here and step into my other garage. So I'm going to take my shoes off here. And that's it. So that's the finished floor. Now, I'm going to let this cure for 4 days before I drive on this. That's one floor up against the other. Okay folks, we're back. This is 2 days after install, so I can walk on this floor, and I'm going to show you how everything turned out. So here we go. This is the 3-coat system. I wanted to match my existing floor, which I think I've done pretty successfully. This is a coat of CFS 707 LVP primer, an intermediate coat of CFS 707 with the flakes, and then a top coat of CFS 137 MUV with aluminum oxide. If you notice the texture in the floor, it's very, very important that you have texture in the floor. If you don't, this can be extremely slippery. So those little speckles you see, that's the aluminum oxide. They're clear, just leaves you with some texture in the floor. So thanks for tuning in. If you guys have any questions about the materials, techniques, how to do the prep work, what you should do with the floor, how to do repairs, whatever it may be, please give me a call. I've been doing this a long time. I've seen virtually everything you can run into in a floor, and I can guide you through anything. This system is tough as nails. You can save yourself a ton of money by doing it yourself. All you need is the ambition to do it yourself. So I hope you enjoyed the flooring system. If you have any questions, let me know. Thanks for tuning in.